All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're looking at a recent massive headline. You know the one, the big international student visa crackdown. But we're going to treat this like an anonymous expert report, stripping away that surface level panic to figure out the actual systemic policy changes lurking just underneath. So what's really driving this?
Immigration enforcement authorities recently dropped a bombshell in a massive press conference. 10,000. That's 10,000 students, they say, are involved in fraudulent postgraduate work. I mean, it's a huge number, right? It's literally designed to grab your attention. But to truly understand the mechanics at play here, we can't just stop at the headline. We've got to look at the denominator.
And man, this perfectly illustrates the power of context. That imposing 10,000 figure, it actually represents less than 0.3% of the total international student population. Think about that. Over 99.7% of students are entirely compliant. So it begs the question, why hold a massive press conference for a fraction of a percent? Well, to figure that out, let's first validate what authorities actually found. Okay, moving into Section 1, the surface claim, legitimate enforcement. According to expert analysis, authorities are zeroing in on very specific, documented violations. We're talking shell companies sharing identical websites just to absorb students, undisclosed third-party work sites with zero domestic supervision, like the HR department is literally overseas. And of course, the big one, pay-for-place fees, where students allegedly buy their authorization paperwork. Honestly, these are completely legitimate grounds for strict enforcement. Nobody's arguing against stopping that kind of behavior. So here's the absolute crucial takeaway. If your job is genuine, if you're directly supervised by a real company, and you're actually doing work related to your degree, you are not the target. Compliant students genuinely working in their fields have absolutely zero reason to panic over this specific sweep. But, and this is a big but, this fractional enforcement is kind of acting like a smokescreen for a much larger threat. Which brings us to Section 2, the underwater mass, a systemic overhaul. Now, here's where the real story is. The true weight of this whole narrative lies in a pending regulation, sitting on desks right now, waiting for final approval. It's called the duration of status rule. Evaluating experts are calling this the single biggest, most restrictive change to student visas in 3 decades. This right here, this is what we really need to be paying attention to. When we compare the two frameworks, the systemic impact is just, wow, it's incredibly clear. Under the current system, your legal status lasts as long as you're actively enrolled as a student, right? It's open-ended, but the proposed system wipes that out. It enforces a rigid time cap, likely a strict 4 years. Want to extend your stay or maybe get another degree? Well, you're forced out of your academic timeline and thrown into this continuous, risky cycle of bureaucratic reapplication. And this proposed setup introduces some massive bureaucratic hurdles. Just look at the systemic impacts. Financially, you're looking at increased mandatory filing fees every single time you need an extension. Time-wise, you'll be dealing with severe processing delays. And legally, every application carries a higher risk of arbitrary denial. It shifts you from being a dedicated student to a continuous applicant, just fighting for temporary extensions. And this is probably the most critical cause and effect relationship of the whole analysis. If a simple paperwork delay happens under this new rule, a delay completely caused by a government backlog, mind you instantly start accruing unlawful presence. It's a crazy irony. You do everything right, and suddenly you're unlawfully present just because a desk somewhere is moving too slow. Historically, students never had to worry about this, but now it's a daily threat. All right, let's look at Section 3, the strategic mechanism, PR versus policy. So how exactly does a tiny fraction of fraud connect to a sweeping policy change that impacts millions of compliant scholars? Well, when we plot the timeline, the underlying strategy becomes super obvious. Day 1 is the highly publicized fraud announcement. Week 1, the media amplifies this narrative of widespread abuse. Then, in a future month, comes the quiet approval of the harshest policy rule in decades. That $10,000 number, it's basically laying the strategic groundwork to justify this imminent overhaul. By spotlighting this specific fraction of fraud, authorities are essentially building a defensive PR shield. It's explicitly designed to mitigate the inevitable pushback. I mean, when universities and compliance students get understandably furious about this devastating duration of status rule, authorities can just point back and say, hey, look at those 10,000 fraudulent students. We had to do this to stop the abuse. It legitimizes a massive restriction by creating a fraud narrative out of a tiny minority.
Moving on to Section 4, Actionable Adaptation and Compliance Audits.
Recognizing this underlying strategy is exactly what empowers you to stop reacting to scary headlines and start taking control. Experts highly recommend jumping on an immediate, rigorous compliance audit of your own situation. Step 1, verify your employer's legitimacy, like right now. Step 2, confirm your offer letters, pay stubs, and daily tasks perfectly match your approved academic activities. Step 3, make sure your physical work location is documented with 0 discrepancies. And Step 4, initiate all future paperwork as early as legally possible to cushion against those systemic delays we talked about. Also, it is absolutely critical to stay far, far away from any complicated third-party employment arrangements. Regulatory agencies are going to be mercilessly scrutinizing these setups. If it even remotely feels like a ghost office, or if your supervisor is located overseas, just avoid it entirely. Do not give regulators any ambiguous data to interpret, period.
Finally, Section 5, Escaping the Lottery Through Merit Pathways.
Let's zoom out for a second. Even if your compliance is flawless, building your entire professional future on a single lottery-based work visa or a tightening student extension program is a highly vulnerable strategy. It's like leaving your life's work to a random dice roll. Instead, independent experts strongly suggest pivoting toward talent-based pathways. These visas offer massive structural advantages. They're based on your proven merit, not a random lottery. You can apply any time of the year, giving you way more control over your own timeline. And best of all, they're completely immune to those general lottery quota restrictions that crush so many dreams every single year. Get this, specific extraordinary ability visas currently boast a 94% approval rate. Let that sink in. 94%. For qualified professionals currently trapped in the anxiety of standard lotteries and tightening regulations, this represents a significantly more stable and reliable alternative. So the most actionable insight to take away from this expert analysis is this. Go get an independent evaluation of your unique professional profile. Have a credentialed legal expert look at your background to see if you qualify for these highly secure, merit-based options right now. Seriously, don't wait for the rules to change. Find out exactly where you stand so you can build a totally bulletproof profile. As this regulatory landscape goes through these massive, fundamental shifts, you're left with a pretty critical choice. Are you going to let surface-level, PR-driven headlines dictate your future and keep you in a state of panic? Or will you take control, verify your compliance, and build a resilient, merit-based strategy that survives the massive policy iceberg hiding just beneath the surface? This system is changing fast, for sure, but those who adopt proactively are the ones who ultimately thrive. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Stay sharp out there, and I'll see you on the next one.